It is hard to imagine anything more barren than Mars. The red planet is a frozen desert full of rust, sand, and rocks. It is an inhospitable world that has never been welcoming to life. Yet what if that was just a facade? What if beneath Mars's red dust is a hidden secret, an atmosphere full of breathable air? In this episode, we're going to take a deep dive into this idea and explore the fascinating implications of a habitable Mars. Let's get started. The thin atmosphere of Mars is one of the main obstacles preventing humans from living there. It is about 100 times thinner than Earth's atmosphere, which means that if you were to step outside without a spacesuit, you would die pretty quickly from a lack of oxygen. But what if the Martian atmosphere was suddenly filled with breathable air? What would it look like? How would it sound? And how would we make this possible? To answer these questions, let us start by imagining what it would be like if Mars had an atmosphere similar to Earth's. The most obvious change would be the color of the sky. Mars' sky is currently a rusty orange due to the large amounts of iron oxide or rust on its surface. But if the planet had a thicker atmosphere, the sky would be blue because of a phenomenon called Rayleigh scattering. This is the same reason why Earth's sky is blue. The shorter blue wavelengths of light are scattered more by the atmosphere than the longer red wavelengths, which is why we see a blue sky during the day. On Mars, with its thicker atmosphere, the blue light would be scattered even more, making the sky an even deeper blue than Earth's. But what about the air itself? Would it feel like the air we breathe on Earth? To answer this question, we need to look at the composition of the Martian atmosphere. The Martian atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide with only about 2% oxygen. The rest is made up of nitrogen, argon, and trace amounts of other gases. If we were to replace the carbon dioxide with nitrogen, which makes up about 78% of Earth's atmosphere, then the result would be a mixture of gases that could support human life. However, this wouldn't exactly be like Earth's atmosphere. Without oxygen, humans couldn't breathe and the pressure would be much lower. So we would still need to add some oxygen to the mix. If we were to increase the amount of oxygen in the Martian atmosphere to the same level as Earth, then the sky would be a beautiful shade of blue and the air would be breathable for humans. But there's another important factor to consider: the pressure. The atmospheric pressure on Mars is about 1/100th that of Earth, meaning that if you were to take a deep breath on Mars, your lungs would explode. To make Mars habitable, we would need to increase the pressure to near Earth levels. This would require us to trap more heat in the atmosphere so that the planet doesn't freeze over. This could be done by adding a greenhouse gas such as water vapor or carbon dioxide. If we could somehow thicken the Martian atmosphere to match Earth's, the planet would look and feel almost identical to our own. We would see blue skies, clouds, rain, and even rainbows. But the most important thing is that we could breathe the air and walk outside without a spacesuit. It would truly be a second Earth. As exciting as it would be to live on a habitable Mars, the reality is that it would also come with some major challenges. For example, the gravity on Mars is only about 38% of Earth's gravity. So we would feel much lighter on our feet, but our bodies would also start to break down because they're not used to such low gravity. Studies have shown that low gravity can cause muscle atrophy, bone loss, and other health problems. Also, the radiation levels on Mars are much higher than on Earth because the planet doesn't have a strong magnetic field to protect it from the sun's harmful rays. This means that we would need to build shelters underground or inside large buildings to protect ourselves from the radiation. Despite these challenges, the rewards of living on a habitable Mars would be great. We would have access to vast amounts of resources that could help us build new homes, grow food, and establish a permanent human presence on another planet. We could also explore the surface of Mars without the need for bulky spacesuits. We would be able to see the stars in all their glory since Mars doesn't have any significant air pollution. The night sky would be filled with stars, planets, and even distant galaxies. It would be a truly humbling experience to look up at the night sky on Mars and realize that we are just a small blue dot in the vast expanse of the universe. To make this dream a reality, we would need to use technology to alter the atmosphere of Mars. One way we could do this is by using giant fans to blow Earth's atmosphere onto Mars. Another way would be to use nuclear bombs to blast apart the frozen carbon dioxide on Mars's poles, releasing it into the atmosphere as gas. This carbon dioxide could then be converted into oxygen and used to breathe. These methods are far-fetched and may not even be possible with our current technology. But it is fun to imagine what it would be like if we could change the atmosphere of Mars to make it more like Earth. What would happen if we could make Mars habitable overnight? What kind of world would we be creating for ourselves? First and foremost, it would be a world without seasons. As we know, seasons on Earth are caused by the tilt of our planet's axis. Because Mars is tilted at a similar angle to Earth, it also experiences seasons, but they are much more extreme than ours. Winters on Mars can be as cold as 220 degrees Celsius, while summers can be as hot as 30 degrees Celsius. If we were to change the atmosphere of Mars to match Earth's, we would need to keep the planet's axis at a constant 90 degrees. This would mean that one half of the planet would always be illuminated by the sun, while the other half would always be in darkness. There would be no more seasons and the climate would be much more stable. Another thing we would need to change is the length of a day on Mars. A day on Mars is about 40 minutes longer than a day on Earth. This means that if we were to change the atmosphere of Mars to match Earth's, we would need to speed up the planet's rotation. Otherwise, the days would be too long. Long days can disrupt our biological rhythms and cause sleep disorders, mood swings, and other health problems. Finally, we would need to change the length of a year on Mars. A year on Mars is about 687 Earth days long, which means that if we were to change the atmosphere of Mars to match Earth's, we would need to slow down the planet's orbit around the sun. Otherwise, the years would be too long. Long years can cause serious health problems, including a slowing metabolism, increased risk of cancer and heart disease, and even early death. In conclusion, it would be amazing if Mars had breathable air. We could explore the planet without a spacesuit and even live there permanently. But it would also come with some major challenges. We would need to change many things about the planet, including its atmosphere, gravity, and even length of day and year to make it more like Earth. Maybe one day, we will be able to terraform Mars and make it a second Earth. But for now, it remains a barren frozen desert. But who knows what the future may hold? With enough determination and ingenuity, we may one day be able to create a habitable planet on Mars. Until then, we can only dream of what it would be like to breathe the air of the red planet. So do you think it would be cool if Mars had breathable air? Why or why not? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.